Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be Women Are Taught That Men Do the Chasing. Can you believe that? I mean, if you read my book, obviously, and you've been reading my articles for a while, you've obviously heard that, the women are supposed to basically wait by the phone and wait for the guy to call, but they're not supposed to chase him. And here's what I know after many decades of applying this stuff in my own life, interacting with thousands of women over the years, and having coached thousands of men and women and discussed and interviewed them and how they interact. I mean, the facts are facts. Here's what I know about women. If they like you and they have interest in you, they'll come up to you, they'll approach you, they'll ask you for your phone number, they'll call you and ask you out for a date. I mean, women are very aggressive. And like one of my favorite old movies is that movie, It's a Wonderful Life. It was made, I think, now either late 30s or early 40s, right around the time of World War II. And it starred Donna Reed as Mary and Jimmy Stewart as George Bailey. Now, George is a few years older than Mary, and I guess apparently from it's a small town, and so for whatever reason, Mary decided when she was a little girl that when she grew up, she was going to make George Bailey her husband. And so she goes off to college, and they hadn't seen each other, I guess, basically since she was 18, and the night got cut short because his father had a heart attack or whatever. And so fast forward a few years from now, she comes back from college. She's painted this little painting. It says George Bailey lassos the moon, because he always had these big plans. He was going to leave this little shitty small town and go move to a big city and make his fortune and shake the dust off his shoes, as he said. And so one night she's back from college, and so I guess George's parents, or his mother, and one of his mother's friends, and half the neighborhood have all conspired to get George to basically go down there and call on Mary and see how she's doing. And he's kind of, I'm busy. I got things I got to do. And he's like, all right, I'll go down there, maybe just for a few minutes. And so he goes inside, and so she's got this little painting that she had done for him. She's got her record playing that remind them of several 4 or 5 years ago when she was 18 of a night that they hung out together, basically the night that they had last seen each other. And so it was like in a moment of frustration, he basically tells her that, hey, I'm out of here, I'm leaving this town, and whatever designs you got on me, it's like, this ain't happening. I'm George Bailey and I know what I want, kind of thing. And in the same breath, and he can't help it, because as soon as he walks in the door, he's just like, wow. He's just amazed at what a beautiful woman she's grown into. And he's enchanted by her. And so, she's got her best looking dress on. She's probably got her best perfume on. She's painted this little picture. She's got a record going. I mean, she's got this whole thing set up. So how is that not chasing him? And so when you look at a woman, you look at her body. I mean, everything about her, how she's set up. It's kind of liken it to an analogy. And women are kind of like a baseball catcher in a way, because they're set up to receive. I mean, feminine energy is all about opening up to receive love. I mean, literally, women will put themselves in a position to catch you, to receive your love, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And I can just imagine, this convention that, men are supposed to do all the chasing. That's a bunch of BS. I mean, I would imagine probably several hundred years ago, probably back in the Dark Ages, some religious busybody, some prude that's sitting in a monastery somewhere who's not having intimate relationships himself, and of course, but yet he's advising people and making decisions upon how men and women should interact with one another. And obviously back then, the church, the people that ran the church were the only ones that knew how to read, and so anybody that, pretty much everybody else, the peasants, they were all ignorant. They only knew what they learned at church. And so this guy, whoever it was, or a group of them, decided that, just think about it, because what do girls do? They're always putting the makeup on, the nails, the hair, they're wearing the hot dresses. And what do? They physically, they're trying to get a man's attention. And if they know a guy is going to be at a certain place that they like, what's going to happen? She's going to conspire with her girlfriend so they can all just happen to show up at the time that he just happens to be there with his friends, so she can make something or create an opportunity where hopefully he'll take the initiative and realize, well, this girl really likes me, ask her out on a date and plan something. She's not going to do everything for you, but she's also going to facilitate things happening. And what I teach guys is when you start dating a woman, you call her, you ask her out on the first date, or when you meet her, you can make your first date right there on the spot. It really depends on how comfortable you are. You make the first date, and you go and you show up, you have a great time, and at the end of the night you take her home and you kiss, and you have this great passionate make-out session. A few days later, maybe you call her and arrange a second date a few days after that. And then maybe the second or third date, at some point in there, if you're doing everything right and you make the woman feel comfortable, as her interest level goes up, she's the days in between the times that you see each other, she's going to work to make those shorter and shorter and shorter, until one day you wake up and you're living under the same roof as she is, and you're living together. Maybe you're married or you're living together. And that's just how it works. And so once she feels comfortable, she'll start calling you to help things along because she likes you, she wants to see you, she doesn't want to wait until you call whenever you get around to it. So she's working to contribute to the relationship. And I've actually got an email here from a woman, and she watched one of my videos on why women prefer to chase, and so she's got a few comments on it. She says, I just watched your video on why women prefer to chase, and I'm confused. Well, being confused means you're about to learn something, so listen up. I'm not sure I dispute anything you said. At the same time, part of our training as women revolves around the idea that we're not supposed to reach out to you, but that we are supposed to wait for you to chase us, to include calling, texting, etc. She says, have you read the book, Why Men Marry Bitches? No, I haven't read it. I've had a lot of people suggest that to me. I feel like a lot of what you say runs counter to the instruction in the book. That's probably one of the reasons why I haven't read it, because if it tells the opposite of what I teach, then I know it ain't got the answers, because the bottom line is what I teach, it works. I mean, you can see the testimonials and the emails and the letters all throughout my website. I got hundreds of articles that I've written. It's all there. I mean, men and women are created by the Lord, and we all respond in certain ways emotionally to certain stimuli in relationships. And once you understand what men and women emotionally respond to, I mean, literally, all of us, men and women both, we are literally programmed like salmon swimming upstream. And all of my girlfriends and my friends and even my clients, they all tell me the same thing. They feel like I can read their minds. Like, they start telling me what's going on, I can tell them exactly what's happening before they've even finished the sentence. Because it's once you understand it, how people work and how they show up in relationships, especially like for a woman, like reading a book like mine. Well, let me finish the email first, and I'll get to what I was going to say here. It says here, I know I'm a chick, so I'm probably not supposed to be listening to the advice you give men. Nevertheless, because, same principles apply. Because, like I said, once you understand what each responds to, then you know how to show up. And she said, based on reverse engineering of some things you mentioned, I found myself writing off a guy tonight who initially made me feel comfortable, but then he didn't take the opportunity to make dates with me when I made it easy for him. You see, she's putting herself in a position where he can make something happen. And this is why it's good for women to read my book. Not only do I have the best communication skills in the world as far as relationships go that I share with you, but if you're a woman, you'll learn how and why you respond to certain stimuli in relationships, why you've acted the way you've acted with certain men that you've dated. And therefore, going forward, instead of getting carried away and swept up on your emotions by a guy who does everything right, you can be objective and understand why the things he's doing are causing your interest level to go up or down. And therefore, you can remain objective And if you know a guy is a bad catch and you see the red flags and you can remain objective, then you'll be able to avoid getting into a bad relationship with him. Or at the very least, it'll improve the quality of your relationship because you got better communication skills. Let's see here. She says, perhaps you should also consider coaching women if you don't already. Well, actually, about 10% of my clients are women, so I do coach women. But it's just, obviously, my book I wrote for men because men need the most amount of help. And as far as relationships go, women are just simply in much better shape than men. Women have a much better understanding of men in relationships than men do of women. And so it's really, I mean, it's interesting when you look at how people function. There's one thing I wanted to mention before we wrap this up. Was that, let's see here. But it's just, like I said, women and men in general, when you look at this, because a lot of things, they're totally counterintuitive. The things that are in my book, the things I talk about, because we've all been conditioned to think and to show up in certain ways that are simply incongruent with the way we were naturally created to show up and interact. I mean, think about it. You see, if you're a guy, you see a girl you like, and you're like, wow, she's hot. And if she's looking at you, looking in your eyes, you can tell she's checking you out, she's checking out your body, she smiles at you. You can tell she's thinking and feeling the same thing. You should naturally be able to just strike up a conversation, and maybe a few hours later, you're making mad, passionate love. And you spend the rest of your lives together, or you spend the next 3 weeks together, or the next 6 days together, whatever it happens to be. That's just how it's naturally supposed to progress. But what happens is we see it, we feel attraction, and then whatever we've been conditioned, right or wrong, we start feeling guilty. No, I shouldn't feel that way. We shouldn't do this, shouldn't think that, blah, blah, blah. That kind of thing happens. And fortunately, we're all starting to wake up and let go of all of these chains of religious conditioning, societal conditioning, legislative conditioning, and getting all these fucking busybodies that don't know jack shit about relationships to stop fucking telling us what to do, because what they're teaching ain't fucking working. That's something to think about. And so if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going down to the Wibia toolbar, which is at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this video on my website. Click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, please share this page with all your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are also located in the Wibia toolbar. And if you have a question that you want to ask me or a topic you'd like me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen and send me 3 or 4 paragraphs detailing your situation, and just give me several days to get back to you because I get a lot of email. And if you want to talk to me right away and book a paid phone coaching session with me personally so I can help you with a challenge or a situation that you have, click the Products tab at the top of your screen and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.